Hello everyone, this is my very first video on YouTube, so please subscribe and like my channel. Today's topic is bones and joint, the very basic. This chapter you will get in first year, second and even third and fourth year. So I think this is very important topic and very basic chapter. So I'll make sure at the end of this slide you're gonna learn this chapter and you don't have to open for a book for this chapter after this. So let's start. Bones and the joint. So here is the picture. This is bone structure and this is joint structure. Bone structure is like bone like humerus, ulnar, radius and femur, tibia. These are bones. And joint like about shoulder joint, hip joint, knee joint, carpal joint. You can look at the picture like shoulder and elbow unite together and form a joint. So this is joint and bone you already know. So let's learn the definition of a bone. So what is bone? Bone is a substance that forms the skeleton of the body. It is composed of calcium phosphate and calcium carbonate. So that's why calcium is very important because bone is made up of calcium. Bone is highly specialized tissue designed to perform multiple vital functions of the body. So after definition, we are going to learn the functions of bone. It gives shape to the body in form of human skeleton. Bone gives shapes to the body. It gives protection to the body's vital organ. Like our vital organs inside our body is protected by bones. Obviously, it is a major organ of our life. It is storehouse of important nutrients and minerals. WBC and platelet produced in bone marrow. And so the function of bone is shape, support, protection, movement, blood cell production. This is in short shape, support, protection, movement, blood cell production. So look at the picture of a skeleton. Here is the picture of a skeleton. This is clavicle, scapula, humerus, ulna, femur, patella, tibia, fibula. Look at all these bone and this bone form a skeleton. So definition is the systematic arrangement of bones of various shapes and sizes forming basic structure of body is known as skeleton. So in short, we can say arrangement of bones is skeleton. Simple. So we all know skeleton has 206 bones and it is divided into two parts, axial skeleton and appendicular skeleton. Axial skeleton consists of 80 bones and appendicular skeleton consists 126 bones. Axial skeleton is upright axis of whole body and appendicular skeleton is shoulder and hip girdle and long bones of both upper and lower limb. Look at the picture here. This is appendicular skeleton and this is axial skeleton. Appendicular skeleton, I already told you that it has shoulder and hip girdle, upper limb and lower limb. And axial skeleton is skull, rib cage and spinal cord. So it is upright axis of whole body. Appendicular consists of upper limb, lower limb, hip girdle and shoulder girdle, and axial consists of upright axis of whole body like skull, rib cage and spinal cord. Now come to types of bone. We have 5 types of bones like long bone, short bone, irregular bone, sesamoid bone, and I forgot to mention one bone here like flat bone. So long, short, irregular, sesamoid and flat bone. Long bone like femur and tibia, short bones, carpal bones, irregular bones, vertebra, sesamoid bones, patella, and flat bones is skull and scapula, pelvic. And I have mentioned all this with a diagram so that you guys understand it more clearly. General structure of a long bone. Look at the picture here. We have a growing long bone and mature long bone. So look at the picture of a long bone. It has epiphysis, metaphysis, diaphysis and epiphysis we have at the upper end, we have epiphysis and at the lower end we have epiphysis. Just adjacent to the epiphysis we have metaphysis and this shaft, this long bone, this shaft is known as diaphysis. So epiphysis at both the end, metaphysis just below the epiphysis and the shaft is known as diaphysis. And we have a growth plate. Look at the red line here. This is a growth plate and this is just below the epiphysis. We have a growth plate and then metaphysis, diaphysis and epiphysis at the lower end. So what happened? Epiphysis is in growing children. The long bone consists of two ends known as epiphysis. It forms a support for joint surface and it is susceptible to development problems, degenerative changes, injury and avascular necrosis to ischemia. And diaphysis, it is a large part of long bone or shaft constitute diaphysis. It is made up of strong cortical bone. Always remember, diaphysis, the shaft is made up of cortical bones, but due to mechanical disadvantage it is always remain to susceptible to fracture, and the process of healing is slow as compared to metaphysis, and it may develop dysplasia or infection. Now come to metaphysis. Metaphysis is the portion of the bone adjacent to each epiphysis and is known as metaphysis. It is made up of cancellous bone, like the shaft is made up of cortical bones, and but the metaphysis is made up of cancellous bone, where the process of healing is fast as compared to diaphysis, and it is susceptible to bone infection, dysplasia and tumor. Now what is growth plate? Look at the picture here, the red line, this is growth plate, and at both the end there is a growth plate. This is a thin plate of growth cartilage, one at each end called growth plate. At time of maturity, this growth plate fuses with metaphysis, and the articular surface of the epiphysis are covered with an articular cartilage. The rest of the bone is covered with periosteum, which provide attachment to tendon, ligament and muscle. Although mechanically weak, it helps in longitudinal growth of bone. What does periosteum do? Periosteum attach to the bone. And what attaches the periosteum? Sharpest fiber attaches periosteum to the bone. Microscopic composition of a bone. Microscopically, bone can be classified either woven or lamellar. Woven or lamellar. Look at the picture here. It is a picture of a woven and lamellar. Woven bones are immature bone. Is characterized by random arrangement of bone cell and collagen fiber. In woven bone, that they are immature bone and there is random arrangement of bone cells. And lamellar bone are mature bone. It has mature bone has an orderly arrangement of bone cell and collagen fibers. You can look at the picture. In woven bone, there is random arrangement of bone cells, and in woven bone there is orderly arrangement of bone cells. How orderly the bone cells are arranged. And you can look at the picture here. This is microscopic picture of bone cell. Here we have the basic structural unit of lamellar bone is lamination, a lamina surrounding central canal, the Hawaiian canal, and it has Waxman canal and osteon. You can look at the picture of osteon and prosteum, osteocyte, lamellae and spongy bone. Structural composition of bone, we have picture here. It is external structure and internal structure. Look at the external structure. It has epiphysis, diaphysis, cartilage, and in internal structure we have spongy bone, red marrow, yellow marrow. It has medulla cavity, compact bone. It has periosteum. Look at the picture here. The bone is covered by periosteum. I already told you. And periosteum is attached. Periosteum is attached by the bone by sharpest fiber. So the shaft of bone is made up of cortical bone, and the end mainly of cancellous bone. I already told you the shaft. The shaft is made up of cortical bone, and the end, the epiphysis part, is made up of cancellous bone, and the junction between the two term, the cortico-cancellaceous junction, is common site of fracture. So the structural composition of bone, the bone is made up of bone cell and extracellular matrix. It is made up of bone cell and extracellular matrix. The matrix consists of two type of material, organic and inorganic. Bone cell, extracellular matrix. The matrix consists of two type of material, organic and inorganic. The organic matrix is collagen and inorganic matrix is calcium and phosphorus salt. So it has cortex and medulla. So cortex is outermost layer and it gives shape, strength and protection from injury. It allows remodeling of bones throughout life. And medulla is softer inner lining of bone. Look at the picture. You can see medulla here, softer inner lining of bone with cavity. Within it, medullary cavity, it is storehouse of important calcium and seat where RBC, WBC originate. Always remember, medulla is storehouse of important calcium and seat where RBCs, WBCs originates. bone cells. It is osteoblast, osteoclast and osteocyte. Blast, clast, cyte. So osteoblast is bone forming cell, osteoclast is bone resorbing cell, and osteocytes resting cell which act as both osteoblast and osteoclast. So osteoblast concerned with ossification. These cells are rich in alkaline, phosphate, glycolytic enzymes and phosphorylases. Osteocytes, they are mature bone cell which vary in activity and may assume the form of osteoclast or reticulocyte. It resting cell which act as both osteoblast and osteoclast. And osteoclast are multinucleated mesenchymal cells concerned with bone resorption. Bone growth. Look at the picture here. Here is a picture of a bone growth, and here is a picture of a bone, the cortico-cancellous junction. I already told you about cortico-cancellous junction. Cortical bone is made up of, the shaft is made up of cortical bone and the epiphysis is made up of cancellous bone, and the junction, look at the here, it is cortico-cancellous junction. It is always prone to fracture. Development and growth of a long bone. Development, ossification and remodeling. Development. All long bones, with the exception of the clavicle, develop from cartilaginous primordia. Always remember, all long bones with exception of clavicle develop from cartilaginous primordia, that is inchondral ossification. Its mean growing cartilage is systematically replaced by bone to form growing skeleton. Cartilage is replaced by bone to form growing skeleton. So ossification, this type of ossification commences in the middle of the shaft. This is primary center of ossification before birth. Before birth, primary center of ossification is shaft, and after birth the secondary ossification center take place at the epiphysis. Secondary ossification center is epiphysis after birth. So the bone grow in length by continuous growth at the epiphyseal plate. At the end of the epiphysis fuses with the diaphysis and growth stops. Now remodeling. Remodeling, bone has the ability to alter its size, shapes and structure in response to stress, and this can happen throughout life. According to Wolff's law of bone, remodeling bone hypertrophy occur in the plane of stress. You can look at the picture here. It is look at the picture again. It is epiphysis, diaphysis, and lower end is epiphysis, and the bone fuses with each other, and we don't have metaphysis here. So look at the picture. Epiphysis, periosteum of the picture, compact bone, medullary cavity. And here's a microscopic picture of a bone. It's a yellow marrow, compact bone, periosteum and sharpest fiber. Look at the sharpest fiber. Periosteum is outer covering of the bone, and sharpest fiber connect periosteum with the bone. Blood supply of a typical long bone. Here is a picture of a bone, and I'll explain you how blood supply take place in a bone. So look at the picture here. It has epiphyseal vessel, metaphyseal vessel, nutrient vessel and anastomosis and medullary vessel. So what happened? Look at the picture here. It is nutrient artery, and this nutrient vessel, this vessel entered the bone around its middle. Here look at the picture. Around its middle it enter and divide into two branches, one running toward either end of the bone. Each of this further divide into leash of parallel vessel which run toward the respective metaphysis. Look at the picture. Nutrient artery entering into the middle, and it has two branches, one running toward either end of the bone. Now come to the metaphyseal vessel. What happened? Metaphyseal vessel, there are numerous small vessels derived from the anastomosis. What is anastomosis? It is connection and around the joint. So there is several small vessels connect around the joint. They pierce the metaphysis along the line of attachment of joint capsule. So this is metaphyseal vessel. Now come to epiphyseal vessel. What happened? These vessels which enter directly into epiphysis. Look at the upper part of the bone. These vessels are entering directly into epiphysis, entering into the epiphysis. Now there is periosteal vessel. You already know periosteal is outer covering of the bone. So the periosteum has a rich blood supply from which many little vessels enter the bone to supply roughly the outer third of the cortex of adult bone. And you can look at the picture. This is a picture. Here it has epiphyseal and metaphyseal vessel here, and it has nutrient artery. Look at the picture of nutrient artery, and it has periosteal vessel mentioned here. You can get clear about this blood supply of by this picture. Look at it here. Okay guys, so this is the end of this chapter. I have tried to explain everything related to this topic. So if you have any doubt or you want me to cover any specific topic, do let me know in the comment section below. Bye. Take care.